Okay, let's go.
Years of working together as spies for MI6, the couple finds out that they are having a child. So they decide it's time to quit their jobs. But eventually, their job comes hunting for them. 15 years before their retirement, Matthew and Emily receives a call from the MI6 headquarters that their target is in his residential building, having his 8-year-old child's birthday party. Arriving at the location, the two disguises themselves as a French couple using the facade that they are French arms brokers. They manage to play the role perfectly, so that their target, an arms dealer known as Gore, doesn't suspect anything and allows them to have fun at the party. Using his handshake from earlier, Emily employs a device to scan her arm to get the fingerprint, which she uses to retrieve a device known as the ICS key, a device also known as a master key. Anyone who has the key is capable of destroying a whole city. An alarm goes off and the mansion's security shows up, but they are no match for the couple as they quickly take them out. Chuck, their mission supervisor, tells them to quickly get to the meeting point for extraction and not to mention anything about retrieving the ICS key to anyone. Arriving at the extraction point, it's clear that a fellow agent, Baron, shares a keen interest in Emily, but he doesn't show it. Inside the plane, Emily reveals that she's pregnant with Matthew's child and is scared that he wouldn't admit being responsible for it. In most cases, raising kids as a spy isn't ideal. However, he really wants to help raise the baby and is happy to finally become a father. To celebrate the moment, he tells the flight attendant to bring them some champagne. At that moment, Emily tries to use the bathroom and isn't allowed, noticing something unusual. Before they can think, Emily is grabbed from behind by the flight attendant, who demands that the ICS key be given to him. Matthew gently brings it out and throws it to him. Distracted by it, the steward lets go of Emily, and they quickly grab him and tosses him away. A brawl begins, as it turns out that everyone on the plane also happens to be a bad guy. Emily disarms the gun before engaging with the bad guys, but the air host manages to find it and loads the gun. He's about to shoot Emily, but Matthew grabs him from behind, causing him to miss. The bullet hits the pilot and without any control the plane crashes onto a mountain top, with the air host holding onto the key as the plane is divided into two halves by the impact. Before they know what's going on, the plane is about to hit rock bottom. Seeing this, Matthew grabs a parachute and gives it to Emily. Since it's the only one left, he tells her to take care of herself and the baby as he's about to sacrifice himself. At that moment, Emily doesn't listen to his nonsense and grabs him by the thigh as they glide through the snowy mountains. After landing safely, Matthew says they really don't have to continue being spies now that they're expecting a child. Since their plane crashed, headquarters would think they didn't make it out alive, and this is their opportunity to go off-grid and start a new life as a family. 15 years into the present day, the couple lives as a happy family with 2 kids, known as Alice and Leo. Alice is a stubborn teenager, and they are sometimes scared to confront her when she's being disobedient, but she's smart enough to know when they're lying, like when she heard her dad speaking in Russian, calling them out for lying about their real identities. Inside the car, Emily tries to be nice to her daughter by asking her if they could see a movie later, but she refuses, saying she has a study date with one of her friends. Arriving at the school, the couple watches their daughter kiss her boyfriend and even uses binoculars to get a better view. Seeing this, Alice calls them out and thinks they're acting weird in front of her friends. At home, Emily keeps complaining about how she cares so much for her daughter, which she never even received from her mother. When she hears a beeping noise, she finds out it's her daughter's computer. After trying random passwords to get in, she notices a scratch paper behind the computer and guesses the password right. Matthew comes to join her, and she points out that Alice might be lying to them. As spies, they should always watch their kids. She finally enters the password and discovers that Alice is at some location and not at her friend's place, just like she mentioned earlier. Using their phone GPS tracker, they finally find out she's at a club. Arriving there, the couple tells their daughter to leave the place, but she points out that other kids her age are having fun too, revealing she has a fake ID that allows her to enter the club. At that moment, a guy walks up to Emily, saying Alice isn't going anywhere, calling her a boomer. As Emily starts to walk out, she's grabbed by the guy. Furious, Emily grabs the guy by his throat, smashing his head on a platform. A huge fight breaks out, and Matthew has to fight too. The couple ends up crashing the party. Matthew notices a kid recording them and grabs his phone to delete the footage. Inside the car, they argue about her lying that she was studying at a friend's place. She's more curious about how her parents could fight like they did in the club. The couple lies again, telling her that they learned a few moves in a taekwondo session, and with practice, they've come to be great protectors. Emily doesn't believe them and goes back to her room. Emily can't help but remember the good old days as spies as they discuss it. To ease the tension, Matthew tries to calm her by reminding her that they decided to leave that life behind because of the family they chose to have. To lighten the mood, Matthew spars with her. Meanwhile, Alice blames her little brother for revealing her location, but he denies his involvement, though he's happy that she's grounded. The next morning, they're visited by Chuck. Matthew is shocked to see him, and he reveals that he was able to find them through an online video of them beating up some men in a nightclub. He also shares that Baron, one of their colleagues, was the one who set them up and works with Gore. He's looking out for them and thinks that their home is compromised, and they need to get somewhere safe. He isn't able to finish his words when a sniper shoots him down. At that moment, some mercenaries join the fray and shoot sporadically at them. Thankfully, the kids are in school, and they're able to dodge the bullets and make it out with their car to pick up their kids. While trying to evade the chasers, Matthew reveals he's with the key and didn't actually give the host the right key during the plane incident. He reveals he hid it in Emily's mom's house in England. Emily is understandably not fine with the fact that he hid everything from her. When a car comes too close, Matthew fills a Diet Coke with Mentos and throws it at the bad guys. The splash causes them to lose control and crash into a truck, sending them flying. They quickly pick up their kids and head straight to the airport. The kids keep asking them lots of questions, and they begin to reveal some secrets they've kept from the kids their entire lives. To answer their questions, Emily reveals that her grandma is still alive and they are going there to stay for a while. Arriving in London, the couple keep hiding their faces from cameras and Alice still doesn't understand anything. They quickly take a bus to a secluded parking lot and steals a car, pretending it was left by their personal chauffeur. Meanwhile, Baron arrives at the airport following the camera footage to find their current location, and some of Gore's men are also trailing them. Inside the car, the couple asks their kids to switch off their phones to avoid being tracked. When they run out of fuel, they decide to stop by at a gas station. The kids begin to argue about the real identities of their parents. Looking at their passports, they're shocked to see that they answer to different names. One of the kids even Googles their last name on his play switch, only to find out that the identity belongs to a deceased person. The couple begins to make plans on how to assess the situation. Matthew shares that they need to get the ICS key and take it to MI6 for immunity. At that moment, a group of Gore's men arrives at the gas station. Seeing this, Matthew uses a gas pump as a flamethrower to fend off the bad guys, while Emily happily engages in hand-to-hand combat with them, as their kids watch in awe, shocked to see if it's really their parents pulling off those stunts. After the fight, the couple quickly takes the kids into the car as they drive off. Baron arrives with his agency, and Matthew, trying to create a barrier between them, shoots at a truck carrying huge pipes, causing it to fall onto the road and block Baron and his men from chasing them. While in the car, the kids are hellbent on knowing who their parents really are. Unable to defend themselves anymore, Matthew reveals that they worked for the CIA as spies, but that was in the past. At that moment, Matthew learns that his son's switch has a Wi-Fi connection, so he takes it from him and tosses it across the road. Arriving at Emily's mom's house, a gunshot suddenly echoes through the air, revealing that Grandma just shot down a harmless bird. A heated argument ensues between mother and daughter, but they take it inside. Matthew tries to calm the tension by revealing their true intentions for being there. At that moment, Grandma's love, a middle-aged man known as Nigel, walks in to greet everyone and wants the kids to refer to him as Grandpa. Meanwhile, Baron, with the help of his partner, is able to track down their location after finding out that Emily's mom actually once worked for MI6. Nigel takes the kids to his special room, where he tries to show Leo his school stuff, pointing out that he also writes computer code, trying to impress the kids. Matthew finally reveals to Grandma that he hid the key in his compound and only came for it. Another heated moment ensues, and Emily reveals that her mom was never there for her growing up. Grandma fires back, saying her daughter hates her, while Alice secretly overhears the conversation and leaves afterwards so they don't notice her presence. Grandma reveals that she's always tried her best to balance her work life and being a mother, but Emily insisted on going to a boarding school in America. The couple goes to search for the key while Grandma takes the moment to bond with her granddaughter. Meanwhile, a group of armed militia manages to infiltrate the compound. After getting the key, the couple hears some noise outside, and when they make it inside the house, they are shocked to see Grandma tied up alongside Nigel. They quickly cut her loose, but in the process, they get surrounded by Chuck's men. They're shocked that he's still alive since they watched him get killed by a sniper. He reveals that during that time he visited them, the sniper they used were fake ones. Everything so far played out fine because he actually wanted them to bring him to the keys, because he always knew they had it. He also shares that after 15 years of their vanishing, the agency blamed him for losing the key, and he was fired. In the process, He lost everything and now he's about to sell the key on the black market in hopes of getting everything back. Meanwhile, a group of armed men checks on Grandma and thinks she's still tied up. She's able to sneak around without being noticed and takes them out with a tranquilizer. When another armed man shows up, she fights him, and a gun goes off, hitting Nigel in the arm. Using the distraction, the couple quickly disarms some men, but Chuck tells his men to bring the kids along as hostages, warning the couple not to do anything stupid unless they want to harm their children. They are then knocked out from behind. They wake up to Grandma, and they check the CCTV camera to find some clues. Thankfully, Leo is able to disclose that he still has his thumb ring on. With this, they are able to track the location where they're being held. It turns out Chuck is trying to sell the key to the highest bidder since Gore hasn't paid him for recovering it, so Gore sends out his men to retrieve it. Chuck starts by showing the capabilities of the key. With the help of his computer genius, he's able to shut down the power throughout the whole city by merely pressing some buttons, even opening the water barrier that's only controlled by the state's naval officers. Seeing this, the buyers begin to bid. Meanwhile, the couple makes it to the building, only to find guards protecting the entrance, so they have to fight like crazy to defeat them all. The bid ends, and the key is sold for $250 million. Baron finally makes it to the building and reveals to the couple that they know it's Chuck behind all this and want to take him into custody, but they have to work together. They find Chuck, and he runs out of the building with the couple chasing after him. Chuck calls his team to take the kids to the boat while he takes off with them. On the road, they're stopped by Gore's men pointing a gun at them demanding for the key, and the couple says they're obviously not with it. At that moment, a sniper dot shows up on one of the guys' faces, and it's revealed that the shooter is none other than Emily's mom. With this, Gore's men surrenders and they take their bikes and chase after Chuck, who's already driving off on a boat with the kids. Meanwhile, some of Gore's men receives a call that they escaped, so another group chases after the couple on a bike, but after making a quick turn the riders end up in a dumpster, while Emily pushes her pursuer onto a platform that causes him to crash. Emily manages to find a boat and chase after Chuck, while Matthew joins in afterward. One of Chuck's men controlling the key is asked to join them. Nigel can't stand by and do nothing after seeing the Chuck's men, so he drives with speed to crash onto the car, causing the driver to lose consciousness. He goes in and tells Grandma that he got the key, and she tells him to try and close the barrier. But since he lied on his resume during the job interview and has no idea what's being displayed on the computer's UI, he starts to panic and ends up pressing some random buttons that returns error codes. Meanwhile, Emily makes it to the boat and Chuck's men try to fight them, but they are easily knocked down and thrown into the water. Nigel shockingly presses some random buttons on the computer, and the barrier suddenly starts to close. Seeing this, the family begins to jump into the water, and when Chuck tries to hold them back, Matthew, with the help of his wife, they punch him back as they jump into the water. Before Chuck can recover, it's already too late for him, as the boat crashes into the barrier. The family is finally safe. In America, Alice manages to score a penalty to win her first football championship game. As everyone celebrates the victory, Alice reveals to her mom that she would love to go see a movie with her, and Nigel promises Leo that he will teach him everything he needs to know about being a spy. The couple is happy that things are finally going back to normal, only for Baron, who's been hiding in the car's backseat, to reveal that Chuck is still alive. Emily needs a partner to join the fight, but it won't be Matthew. Curious about who the new partner is, and Baron reveals that it is her dad. Matthew is shocked to hear this because Emily never mentioned that her